They already know we in the building. Trio Dios, what it do?
Peace and love, brother. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Yeah, we back at it. And I ain't here to play with them. And I always got the troops with me that they definitely ain't they don't play. They don't even know what playing is. You feel me? Like we walked right past the playground. You know what I'm saying? We went to work early. Hey, but yeah, I definitely wanted to touch on a point in history that still occurs. We gonna always look over it, I guess. But it's a surmounting amount of blacks, so-called blacks, that pass for whites. Yeah, whether you know it or not. It's been happening since America began. Or, it's really a European thing. And that's another thing I try to get people to look at. Like, we're in the northern hemisphere. You feel me? Like, we are equatorial people. So we're supposed to be towards the equator, which is all the way around the world. People don't have to pick, just America or just Africa. The equator wraps all the way around the world. We are equatorial people. We live in the tropics and all of this. But no, we up here in the north. We're in the northern climate. So this is the equivalent of staying in Europe. We essentially are in Europe. That's what it is. We're in the Europe part of America. Right across from us, straight, directly across from us is Europe and Russia and China and all of this kind of stuff. Now we got to come back down towards the equator. I don't care what nobody say. But yeah, back at it though. We got a lot of blacks who pass for whites. Like I say, this one here is Blacks Who Pass for Whites, featuring J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, he was a mulatto. But we got receipts on everything and everybody. So, without further ado, matter of fact, we're gonna start it off with the beautiful Yasini getting us a little caught up. This is like we say, a chosen exile, black people passing on white America. You see the children, you see the family. It just gets wider and wider as time goes. But let me blow this up. Can y'all read it? Just making sure it's the right size. I'll
I
blow it
can.
up.
I can. So several years ago, Stanford historian Allison Hobbs was Allison Hobbs was talking with her. You gotta go back up a little bit.
You gotta go up.
Calico, go up. Yeah, right there. Several years ago, Stanford historian Allison Hobbs was talking with a favorite aunt, who was also the family storyteller. Hobbs learned that she had a distant cousin whom she never met nor heard of, which is exactly the way the cousin wanted it. Hobbs' cousin has been living as white, far away in California since she graduated from high school. Yeah, this was at the insistence of her mother. She was black, but she looked white, Hobbs said. And her mother decided it was in her best interest to move far away from Chicago to Los Angeles and to assume the life of a white woman. Her mother really felt that this was the very best thing she could do for her daughter, Hobbs continued. She felt this was a way to offer opportunities to her daughters that she wouldn't have living as a black woman on the south side of Chicago.
So she was black, but she looked white. And
Yes.
her mother decided it was in her best interest to move
Yeah.
far away from Chicago That means get away from your roots or wherever you may be from. Get away
Yeah,
from your family and your bloodline and just go be you. Huh? To Los
yeah.
Angeles to assume the life of what? Of a
A
white woman.
black, a white woman. Listen,
Yeah.
this is advantageous for her mother too, because
Exactly.
if she plays all of her cards right,
Yep, mama gonna
and
reap what she. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, mama
I
gonna get to reap the benefits.
don't exactly. And she buys her mother a house in the nicest neighborhood or the place that she wants. So this happened in real life in the town that I'm from. So I'll get into that maybe later, but I could see I could see what her mother is on, and the town that I'm from was doing the same things to her children. So in California, the young woman passed as white. She married a white man, and they had children who never knew that they had black blood. Then one day, years later, her phone rang. It was the woman's mother with distressing news. Her father was dying, and she needed to return home immediately to tell him goodbye. So the cousin replied, I can't. I'm a white woman now. She missed her father's funeral, and she never saw her mother or siblings again. Hobbs was haunted by the story and constantly went back to it in her mind. So it made her realize that all the tales she'd heard about passing over the years involved the gains that people expected for leaving their Black identity behind. But through her research, she came to understand there was another critical part of the experience. Yeah, to write a history of passing is to write a history of loss.
Mm.
Yeah, that's saying a lot. She even denied. Now she can't go to a funeral because she's white.
That's a crazy ass story.
And
It
bro, hey,
is.
hey, Taz, this has happened, man, bro. It's happening by the thousands every year. We're gonna watch. I got more. Gonna definitely prove it to you. But go ahead,
Yeah.
right quick. Go ahead, sister.
Who are
Or,
your
or,
people? Loss of
oh,
self, loss of family, loss of community, loss of the ability to answer honestly the question Black people have been asking each other since before emancipation.
wow.
Who are your people? Yeah,
So
and
they've
from
been asking that question. So that's
yeah,
been
or they
the
would say,
question.
who's your folks? Who's your folks?
Wow. So that's always been the question. And we still over here right now with the Africa and America argument. And and such and so forth. Like, the Israelite and all of that kind of argument. All of that.
Right, right. So the family jokes, the oral history every family has and repeats and passes down. Hobbes muses. Those things are lost to people who pass. She figured if she had a passing story in her family, there must be many other families who did too. So Haas began writing about passing for her doctoral dissertation and was encouraged to turn it into a book. So the dissertation became A Chosen Exile, a
Mm.
history of racial passing in America. It's the history of passing told through the lens of personal stories. So once Hobbes began researching, the stories came thick and fast. There was New Yorker Theophilus Mcgee, who chose to live as a white man for all of his adult life. That's until he stepped forward to claim a huge inheritance as the only colored descendant of Negro Civil War veteran Colonel John McKee. So his claim and the court fight with his biracial siblings made national news. So there's the story of Harry S. Murphy, who was assigned as an ROTC cadet to the University of Mississippi by a commander who assumed Murphy was white. So, quote, for a year, Harry had a ball at Ole Miss, end quote. Hobbs laughs. Quote, he ran track, dated white girls, and was known as a terrific dancer, end quote. Yeah, I wonder how. Years later, the university fought to keep James Meredith from registering as its first black student. Harry Murphy gleefully broke the news. Quote, Ole Miss was fighting a battle they had no idea they lost years ago. End quote. Okay. Then there's the sad tale of Elsie Roxborough, a beauty from a distinguished Detroit family who had become the first black girl to live in a dorm at the University of Michigan. She tried acting in California, then moved to New York to live as a white woman. When her disapproving father refused to support her, Roxborough, then known as Mona Minette, committed suicide. Her grieving and equally pale sister passed as a white woman to claim the body. So Roxborough's secret wouldn't be given away. Her death
Mhm.
certificate declared she was white. Mm.
Yeah, like I'm really starting it off like this to show that this was not you know, this wasn't a here and there type of thing. It's a sickness that a
Widespread.
lot of people have.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, and
Yep.
it's
Listen,
crazy.
soon as these mofos start getting a compliment, alluding to the fact that they're white, like keywords and shit,
Hmm.
then you know what's going through their mind at that point. Like, damn, I can pass for white. That means
So it's
you don't
like
have any black features
these people have chosen to exile from their own kind. You know, it
forever,
is.
forever.
Mm-mm-mm.
Even though what do you think's gonna happen when they go to like a dance or a ball or something extravagant like that? You don't think that rhythm's gonna show up?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Taz, can you help us out with this one?
Oh shit!
To be honest, bro, I'm I'm a little baffled at the shit. I mean, but I get it because we
It's self
experience
hate. It's self hate.
right, we experience this also within um I mean, I guess if you want to call it within the Latino community or whatever you want to call us. But it is it's obvious that a lot of times, a lot of us appear to be trying to be white, even though we know that we'll never be accepted. It is something that we that since we know that it's accepted worldwide, we search for that just so we, I guess, survive, I guess, if you want to call it that. But sometimes it becomes the identity crisis becomes so permanent that you actually start to believe that you are, and you're
Right,
not, and that in itself is the to me is one of the word an identity crisis like that. I mean, it's not that simple, but to see it in within your own peoples and stuff like that,
Yeah, it's gut.
it's depressing. But
Yeah, but yeah, I know what you mean. Trust me. That's why, and I'm gonna really show how. The reason I brung up J. Edgar Hoover as a main name is because it shows you the severity of the line of thinking of these people, how demented they become towards the so-called black man. They become your enemy, your main enemy. You feel me? And that's why people, we give all the credit to the Tamahu and say he did this and all that. Yeah, but I mean, why you think their number's still strong? Because a lot of niggas is fading to black, because black means pale. They fade not. So they are them, or they appear to be them, but they were us, you know? And they don't want to come back home, number one. So
right.
so they off into that world so deep. and they your arch motherfucking enemy by choice. You know what I'm saying? And you like, shoot, who knows if this is what started the KKK? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? For real, the most hated, the mulattoes that hated us the most. You feel me? The
Yeah.
albinos that felt slighted.
So Calico, I
Yeah.
asked you earlier, what was the name of that movie about this black girl who was passing off as white, knowing that her mother was a maid for like a rich white person, and her mother had slept with a white man, and so the daughter turned it out light. And I'm gonna tell you now, it's called The Imitation of Life, and it was one of my favorite movies because it was so intriguing. Like damn, I mean, this white girl went through. She had white boyfriends. She denied her mother in public, or denied anything to do with blackness, right? And then the white people found out that she was black because her mother busted in on her at a college dorm, and they saw. Somebody would have told, like, "Oh, girl is black, black," and then the boyfriend like whooped her ass out in the street. Like, what? You
Look, the
fucking
first two, the
nigger?
first two paragraphs, the
That's
first
crazy.
two paragraphs.
The movie.
No, this is like, look, all of those stories are based on real life, and what I'm saying is,
Right, but what Sister Yasini talking about?
yeah, that's
Yeah, it's called An
I'm
Imitation
gonna
of
show
Life.
you. I'm gonna
Oh,
show you.
It's
this
an
It
is.
had a lot.
all-star cast.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it had a
Larry
lot to do
Turner.
with like Dorothy Dandridge really lived that life.
Yes, absolutely,
See,
absolutely.
read
And,
these first
and she
two.
could do it today. Not
Look,
Dorothy, but the character who played her.
look, the origin of the what you speaking of comes from this syndicate of this story right here. If I get the first two paragraphs read, Taz, you gonna join in?
I,
Yeah,
I can
sure.
read it or task, whatever. Okay, task then go. So Lydia Maria Child introduced the literacy character that we call the tragic mulatto in blank, because I can't see that, blank stories. The Quadrants in 1842 and Slavery's Pleasant Homes in 1843, she portrayed this light skinned woman as the offspring of a white slaveholder and his black female slave. So this mulatto's life was indeed tragic. She was ignorant of both her mother's race and her own. She believed herself to be white and free. Her heart was pure. Her heart was pure. Her manners impeccable. Her language polished, and her face beautiful. Her father died. Her Negro blood discovered. She was remanded to slavery, deserted by her white lover, and died a victim of slavery and white male violence. A similar portrayal of the near white mulatto appeared in Clodagh, 1853, which was a novel written by a black abolitionist, William Wells Brown. So a century later, literary and cinematic portrayals of the tragic mulatto emphasize her personal pathologies: self hatred, depression, alcoholism, sexual perversion, and suicide attempts being the most common. So, if light enough to pass as white, she did. But passing led to deeper self loathing. She pitied or despised blacks and the blackness in herself. She hated or feared whites, yet desperately sought their approval. In a race based society, the tragic mulatto found peace only in death. She evoked pity or scorn, not sympathy. Sterling Brown summarized the treatment of the tragic mulatto by white writers.
Yeah,
So,
like I told you,
so
this is the origin of
yes,
where
yeah,
all those
of the
like
imitation.
stories in the '90s. Yeah, yeah,
No, the imitation of life would have been like 70ish or
yeah.
before.
I mean, but this is in the
Yeah.
1800s. This is in the
Oh
1800s.
my God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
1800s,
I
right.
skipped past all of that Like as you can see to the left, this is one of the first images of when they were doing the skin lightening cream and all that, and showing how they can go
Yeah,
ahead and
yeah.
become a white girl and all that kind of
Innocent
stuff.
right and creed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust that shit. Who knows what they put in there? Fucking bleach.
And like you said,
Bleach.
imitation of life, right? Matter of fact, read that for us,
Yes.
Sister Y'all.
The imitation of like that trios dios is covering up that part, but I'm trying to do an educational response. Yeah, there you go. So imitation of life, based on Fannie Hurst's best-selling novel, traces the lives of two widows, one white and the employer, the other black and the servant. Each woman has one daughter. The white woman, Beatrice Pullman, played by Claudette Colbert, hires the black woman, Delilah, played by Louise Beavers, as a live-in cook and housekeeper. It is the Depression, and the two women and their daughters live in poverty. Even a financially struggling white woman can afford can afford a mammy. So the economic salvation comes when Delilah shares a secret pancake recipe with her boss. Beatrice opens a restaurant, markets the recipe, and soon becomes wealthy. She offers Delilah, the restaurant's cook, a 20% share of the profits. Regarding the recipe, Delilah, a true cinematic mammy, delivers two of the most pathetic lines ever from a black character. Quote, I gives it to you, honey. I makes you a present of it. End quote. White Delilah is keeping her mistress's family intact. Her relationship with Piola, her daughter, disintegrates. So Piola is the antithesis of the mammy caricature. Delilah knows her place in the Jim Crow hierarchy, the bottom rungs. Yeah. So hers is accommodating registration, bordering on contentment. Piola hates her life once more, wants to live as a white person, to have the opportunities that whites enjoy. Delilah hopes that her daughter will accept her racial heritage. He, and that's a quote, he, which is God, made you black, honey. Don't be telling him his business. Accept it, honey. End quote. Piola wants to be Piola wants to be loved by a white man, to marry a white man. She is beautiful, sensual, a potential wife to any white man who does not know her secret. Piola wants to live without the stigma of being black. And in the 1930s, that stigma was real and measurable. Ultimately and inevitably, Piola rejects her mother, runs away, and passes for white. Delilah dies of a broken heart. A repentant and tearful Piola returns to her mother's funeral. This is exactly, yeah, this is where they got that shit from.
Hey, hey, that's gonna be the name. The next time we do a show like this, it's gonna be called Poor Piola. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because people
Yeah,
love to talk about Uncle Tom's, but this like it's gonna show you something right here though, because
yeah,
hey, that's the name we might throw on a male, but we got Poor Piola. Yeah, you know what I
yeah.
mean? As far as the female goes, it's like saying
And
bye, Felicia. So we
yeah,
might be
and
like
not
bye,
only that.
bye, Piola.
And so audiences, black and white, and they were separate, hated what Piola did to her mother, and they hated Piola. She's often portrayed as a epitome of selfishness. In many academic discussions about tragic mulattoes, the name Piola is included. So yeah, now we got a new name to throw around. Yeah, bye Piola.
Mm-hmm.
So from the
Bye,
mid
Piola.
1930s through the late 1970s, Piola was an epithet used by blacks against light-skinned black women who identified with mainstream white society. Piola looked white and wanted to be white. However, you're black. I threw that in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you go up a little bit, I'll finish the paragraph.
Yeah.
So, yeah, by Piola. So during the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement, The name Piola was an insult comparable to Uncle Tom, albeit a light-skinned female version. That's 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 wow. Whoever knew whoever knew there was Piolas running around
Hmm.
themselves.
Kind of like Karen right now.
Yeah,
Yeah. Piola has probably become a Karen. She done went so deep into going pale. She felt like you can't tell me shit. I'm 10 generations removed from that nigger shit.
yeah, yeah. And until she marries her white husband, and he's not smelling
Pop, pop,
sulfur
pop.
anymore.
Put it up, pop, pop.
We do know that our smells have frequencies, right? We do know that there's a white
Yeah.
smell and a black smell, right?
I mean, yeah, it's called. I know you mean the pheromones, but you talking about that sulfur is very unattractive. That sulfur.
Yeah, they might be smelling selenium,
Yeah,
especially if that's not his first girl. He's had other white women before.
you're right though. You're right. He don't like you like
With the sulfur smell, and now
like
here
yeah
comes some goddamn selenium in the house.
yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But
But
hold on.
these people they're mental. They're mental, and like I said, self-hating and self-loathing, and they're mental diseases. That's what the problem is. You got a mental disease. You see, and they opportunists. You see an opportunist to get this loan from the bank by bringing your whiteness in there, you know. And they probably was using sex with it. I mean, they had to make sure that their white version was going to work. I'm just assuming. I mean, if you're gonna play the game, play the whole game. You don't want to be white and then still get turned down at the bank. I'm tripping off of this. I am. Like, what's the point? Just be who you
Watch
are.
this. Watch this. Freddie Washington, the star of Imitation of Life, was one of the first cinematic tragic mulattoes. She was
Yeah.
followed by women like Dorothy Dandridge and Nina Mae McKinney. Dandridge deserves special attention because she not only portrayed doom, unfulfilled women, but she was the embodiment of the tragic mulatto in real life. Her role as the lead character in Carmen Jones, Preminger, 1954, helped make her a star. She was the first black featured on the cover of Life magazine. In Island in the Sun, Zanuck and Russell, 1957, she was the first black woman to be held lovingly in the arms of a white man in an American movie. So this is where we get this from. You know what I'm saying? She's the matriarch of that crap. You know what I'm saying? But she's the classic Piola. But what I'm saying, in the arms of a white man in an American movie, she was a beautiful and talented actress. But Hollywood was not ready for a black leading lady. The only roles offered to her were variants of the tragic, keyword variants of the tragic mulatto theme. Her personal life was filled with failed relationships, disillusioned by roles that limited her to exotic, self-destructive mulatto types. She went to Europe, where she fared worse. She died in 1965 at the age of 42. Come on now, young as hell, from an overdose of antidepressants. Yeah, today's successful mulatto actresses, like they stand, for example, Halle Berry, Lisa Bonet, Jasmine Guy, they owe a debt to pioneering efforts of Dandridge. These women have great wealth and fame. They are biracial, but their statuses and circumstances are not tragic. So they want to point out the few. But I wanted to get right here. The tragic mulatto stereotype claims that mulattoes occupy the margins of two worlds. And I remember me and Taz saying those exact words, about, when you mix, when you do miscegenation, you feel me? When you amalgamate or whatever, how we gonna put it, or when you create a mulatto. The tragic mulatto stereotype claims that mulattoes occupy the margins of two worlds, fitting into neither, accepted by neither. This is not true. of real life mulattoes. Historically, mulattoes were not only accepted into the black community, but were often as leaders and spokespersons. But nationally and at neighborhood levels, Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Elizabeth Ross Hayes, Mary Church Terrell, Thurgood Marshall, Malcolm X, and Louis Farrakhan were all mulattoes. Walter White, the former head of the NAACP, and Adam Clayton Powell, an outspoken congressman, were both light enough to pass for white. And I got something on them right there. The former head of the NAACP. I definitely got him for you. The original, yeah, Betty Boop. You're right. She was a mulatto too. She was definitely a mulatto. Hold on, one sec. Walter White and there you go. Bim bim bim. What we say? Mixed race studies. It's difficult in Brazil, and that's something else because you was just talking about that, Taz. But it's difficult in Brazil to point out racism, says Alexandre Ciconello, a human rights expert and advisor to Amnesty in Rio de Janeiro. Is a taboo for the elite of the country, and for politicians and authority. They always say Brazil is a mixed country. We are not the U.S. We are not South Africa. And if you raise racial questions, you're seen as trying to separate that. Okay, hold on.
Bro, and in Brazil, it's gotta be even worse because like I don't know the exact number, but I'm pretty sure that it's high up there. But I would go to say that like 70% of the population in Brazil are like dark skinned, people, and for it to be that way, that's crazy.
Hey, Taz, I don't know if you're able to read this one. I want you to stop after the first paragraph too, so I can tap in with you.
All right, it says uh, every year approximately 12,000 white skinned Negro. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Every year, approximately 12,000 white-skinned Negroes disappeared. Walter
Mm-hmm.
White, the former head of the National Association for the Boy, be quiet. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, wrote in a 1947 article. People whose absence cannot be explained by death or immigration, men and women who had decided that they have happier and more successful if they flee from the
Pros.
prescription
Mm-hmm.
and humiliation which the American color line imposes on them.
Yeah. Hey, you see that though? What I'm saying? This is the words of Walter White, the former head of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP. Walter White, who had the name White for a reason because he could pass for white. And what I'm saying is, Walter White, the mulatto himself, you know, he claimed to definitely still be, he said he could have passed for white, but he chose to still be, black centered. They were like, why? You don't even look black no more. You don't have to do that. He said, he going with what he know. He going with his roots. So, it's sad that some of the blackest of the blackest be quick to white themselves out, but you got somebody like him that's still ready to, you know, cling to where he come from. You feel me? But Walter White explained that, it's so many people that are light skinned blacks that want to pass for white to the extent that this way back in 1947 he said this, and it's almost 100 years ago. That's every bit of 80 years ago. What I'm saying is every year approximately 12,000 white skinned Negroes disappear. That means they no longer claiming to be us, or they no longer associated with us. They no longer pass for us. So they, they only strengthen in the so-called white numbers. You feel me? Because other
Those
than that,
are
these numbers would decline.
those are super crazy numbers.
Yeah, man. And that was 80 years ago. So you already know it's way more gangster now, for real. But yeah, man. And you say White had first-hand experience. The black president of the NAACP, he had blonde hair and blue eyes. You feel me? They say he would disappear himself from time to time so that he could safely investigate lynching in the American South. Because he said he could go to a KKK rally and not get a rope around his neck. That's how much he looked like one of them. He had blonde hair and blue eye. Like, it's a lot of people now that are so white, and they're in the musical business. They might be named Justin Bieber. I'm just saying. That's what a lot of this Jewish thing is coming from. You feel me? There's a lot of people in this Jewish thing, these so-called Jews. They know they can't claim to be this and that without claiming to be a part of you. They come from you. You are the true Jew. They're Jewish. They're sort of kind of, they're sort of kind of like a Jew. You are the Jew Els. We're Els and Bays. We're more with Els. So what I'm saying, we're the Jew Els of God. We're the Jews of God. They're Jewish. You feel me? They're not Els.
Yes, ish.
And that's a problem. Like, we want to be Jewish. While we crazy, we're Jewels. You feel me? We're the Jewels. And some people are not looking at this as a jewel. You feel me? So they despise their self. It's self-hate.
Right. They trying to be Jewish.
Right. And so Minister of Etymology, break down what the Jew is then. Is it just the root word or the base word of jewel or gems or whatever?
Yeah.
Because
everything is like a compound word. So what I'm compounding is the two nouns. You feel me? Jew and El. And they compounding a noun with a suffix. You feel me? So
that's what's up, because the L is the EL. So,
Yep. The same in South Africa. Like, the sister ain't lying. We appreciate y'all showing up. Yep. And that's where I got this one story from, how the South African mother, how, she had a baby with a European, and the baby, when he got about 6 years old and started going to school, the baby one day in school found out that, hey, black people stink, or Africans stink. So she was like, when the baby came home, the baby told his mom, say, Africans stink. And the mom was like, hey, I'm African, I don't stink. He said, I don't care. I like my dad. I don't really like you that much, mama. I like my dad. I'm like him. She said, yeah, you could say that all you want, but you still not a white man. You know what I'm saying? You're not a European like that. You're not a white man. Right. He's like, damn. So he was mad about that. He went to school. He wanted to find out from the same people that told him Africans stink. He wanted to know, shit, if I'm not European, if I'm not white, what am I? And they told him, the teacher and all, they told him, you're a colored person. That's why you're seeing this term in all of these, and in all these articles and everything. They talking about, colored people this, colored people that. And we talking about mulattoes. And the reason we talking about mulattoes and saying colored people, because that's what a colored person is. You feel me? A colored person is mixed. They're saying you are a white that has had, somebody put a crayon on you and gave you a little bit of color. Somebody put a little bit of color in, like, instead of putting cream in the coffee, you put a little bit of coffee in the cream.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and listen, peace and love to Charbet in Music Land, but When
Yeah, Gemini
when I
9.
when I was young, okay, I grew up around like 90% white people, 10% black, and a white woman who was had all black children because she went with a black man, had like 10 kids by him. She told me, like way back in the day, like when they were coming from the Underground Railroad and had settled into Cassopolis, Michigan. Yeah. She told me that the children were always encouraged to mate with white because they were already like really high yellow. And so when you mate with white and then your kids
Yep.
come out and can pass for white. At
Yep.
the time, I wasn't woke or nothing at the time, but still my common sense kicked there like, why the hell fuck they want to do that? And now I see they're looking for they're looking for advantages. Their parents are looking for advantages. But that was so far back. Like, damn. In the 70s, they was on the shit. So you see it, we're going back to 83, 84, with these movies even showing us what happens to these tragic black women who could pass it as white and do. But eventually, all of those 10 kids that she had end up going to black because they were forbidden. They were forbidden to pursue blacks as a mate. They needed to pursue white so their kids can come out white. Yeah, they all went black, all of them, all 10 of them, which I still know today. They like black because it's in them through their daddy. They're black. Stop it with all of that, you know. If they ain't got no nine ether hair and they could dye it blonde, if they ain't got the fullness of the lips, the
Now, I
the big,
mean, I mean, you are what your forefathers are, without contradiction. Like they are that. It's just to
mhm,
say, it's not to say that they're not all the other genetics they've added to themselves. They've added a lot of European to themselves, but
mhm.
they know what they stem from. You know, is no lie about that. You come from a giant tree. Your blood, your lineage, anyways. It came from a Moor. A so-called black person.
It did.
You know,
And how you gonna show up to the dance with all that goddamn rhythm?
and let me see if I can get into that. Let me see what this one is. Or no, I'm gonna just jump on your boy head, your boy Edgar Hoover.
Okay. So right before that, listen, there is a universal law called the law of rhythm because we're natural to this earth plane.
The
We
law of the what you
have
said?
we have that law. It's called the law of rhythm. It's
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A Hermes principle, the law of rhythm, and it talks about how rhythm compensates. And someone don't have that rhythm, and they're not going to have that rhythm. And you'll see black girls even say, "Oh, God didn't bless me with no rhythm." But really, if you're natural, you
I
got
mean,
rhythm.
like,
You got rhythm.
put it like this. This is what I'm getting at. This is why I look that comment up there, because when you see one of us fade to white, it's like you say, you still all of a sudden this person can sing their ass off. They got moves on the basketball court. You
Yeah,
know, everything. This white guy can jump. What I'm saying, you know, we taking our greatness and putting on a white face is what I'm saying. But
yeah,
what we're not noticing, or if we only say, it's about the mother, mother's mother and all that. At the same time, it's like we're gonna accept when they come in a blackface, and I mean in a natural form. They really coming with black skin, but they really are not. You feel me? So you got all this awkwardness, craziness, sick-mindedness. It just looks like us though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like maybe we have to corral our mulatto brothers and sisters and don't be so quick to just grab the ones that might be a little darker, but not knowing that this person is really a white guy. Like basically, like he's just passing for black to a degree. I'm too seriously. Just like this person is, a Moor, but they passing for mulatto, passing for Albion. The same thing can go where they could just be, a real Caucasoid, but they passing for a Moor. Because it's about phrenology and everything. All of this stuff used to be real science, phrenology, friend meaning the skull, you feel me, meaning your brain. Yeah. What I'm saying is the phrenology is just like your phenotype. Phenotype meaning your features, your face. Like the phenotype don't lie. You feel me? Right. Your feet, like we don't have to go as deep as DNA and all that, like people act like it takes. It don't take all that. You know what I mean? We don't have to. You don't have to get my blood, nobody's blood. Phenotype does not lie.
And your phenotype is related to the animal of your zodiac. Really, I mean, if you know how to,
I can go for that.
And say their sign.
But it's deeper than that because it's genetic. It's definitely genetic. Like all Leos ain't gonna look the same. But I know what you're saying. Like it like your spirit animal maybe or something of that nature.
Right, yeah.
It's definitely coming from, it's in the genetics. I'm just saying don't take blood to know it. It don't got to go that deep because the phenotype don't lie. And like I say, phrenology. Phrenology, like I said, meaning the skull. The shape of your skull does not lie. That's why the Egyptians and such were pictured always, even their skeleton are pictured with long skulls.
Yeah.
Like your skull is gonna tell like what you truly are. Like if you have a flat type of a skull, then you have the new type of skull, and you are missing a certain portion of your brain according to phrenology. You feel me? They've labeled this as racist in certain circles because it used to be used against the black man so much, but they used to use it like they studied the skulls of all like people on death row, and they've noticed that all of these psychos have the same shaped skull. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, or they all have some irregular shaped skull. And I don't mean no long head. They don't have a long one. Nope. Nah. They got a way more small or flat back of their head. Like you got more areas of room for compassion and religion and all of these type of things when you have a longer skull. It's just been, it's so comparable that, when you study all of the people that are this type of skull and that type of a skull, you feel me? So they don't want to include these things nowadays, but it still matters.
Can we factor in some shit that may sound racist, but it's really just the truth? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a mixed race, and we need to understand that one of the races have some recessive traits. That means it's not going to work like it's organic. I'm choosing my words very carefully. Some of this recessiveness is probably going to be proportional to the mixture. Again, I promise you, I'm choosing my words very carefully, and I don't want to point blank just say,
Yeah.
I'm gonna quit right there.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm gonna quit right there. Yeah. So, there's black is gonna come from your mother's mitochondrial Eve genes, so to speak. If you have that, if your mother's white or is your grandmother, black, and your grandmother and your great-great-grandmother, if they're all black and that mitochondrial Eve gene is just running through your shit, that surely your skin color, whether you can pass or not, is not going to matter all that much. But
I hate to say that, I hate to say that because most of these, because in that case, that's going back to Piola. Piola's mama had the mitochondrial Eve gene.
Yes.
Piola's mom told her to go to California and to pass for white. You know what I mean? So it matters, you know. And I don't know what it is about these European, the Albions, man, but we say their genes are weak and all of this, but black means bleach for a reason, you know, means
Yes.
pale, which means bleach. It means bleach for a reason. Because when people
Absolutely.
mixing in with them, they're getting bleached out, you know.
Right.
And I, you know,
And not only
I,
that, there's neuromelanin in your brain.
yeah, you're gonna be missing these things. Is what I'm saying. What
All
I'm
races
saying.
don't have neuromelanin. They
That's
have
why I'm bring.
phenomelanin.
That's why I bring up the phrenology because the shape of your skull gonna matter when we talking about whether you light or dark. All that really don't matter. You better get your mind right. And that means guess what? Hopefully God gave you the tools to work with to get down here. So hopefully you have you know a nice skull on you. If you got one of these little pea brains, I don't expect much out of you. I don't care what nobody say. I can't be, you know, too sweet about it.
Right.
You know, you got you a little peanut head, you know, tiny little peanut.
And my
I
skull
don't
is
think you
always
working with
changing
that.
shape. I have to monitor my skull.
Like
What the
like
hell?
women now, women's skull are smaller than men. But what I'm saying is now that's why women, you know, their brain is more diversified than all, you know, brains in the world. Like y'all can use both sides of y'all brain at one time. Like it's such a you know, complex organ compared to even a man. Like man, we can only use one side at a time. And luckily for, like I'm saying, the melanated man, we have a big head. You know, that's why we talk about Yakub and all of this kind of stuff, the big head scientists.
big, big
But
and hard,
so
big
we
and
have a
hard,
big head, and we can only use one
hard.
side at a time. But at least we got a good brain to do one side at a time with. Now, the woman, she don't have to have such a big head because she can use both sides of her brain at the
Right,
same time. You know, but
right. And I'm gonna have to go apologize to my man now that I know that.
yeah, yeah, you got to know he can't do what you do. We just ain't built like that sometimes. You know.
It's like, hello. But yeah, I'm just kidding. You know, but for real. Um, men's heads or nuggets, it's hard. It's hard, and their ass is soft. Because you know, I raising a boy, like
Yeah,
you
hard head, soft ass. You're right. You know it. You know it. Yep.
yeah, it's like I be asking my man, like, why is your head so damn hard?
Hard head make a
Yeah,
soft
I
ass.
figured it out. Yeah, I figured it out. Why is your ass so soft? I promise you. It's like your head is, if he bumps me with his head and shit, I'm like, God damn, nigga, what? But yeah. And then I do this and be like, all right, I get it.
Yep.
Shit. Well, yeah, let's get down with the get down.
Yeah. Hey, my boy say if you have a pack of hot dogs on the back of your head, it means you're having a large pineal gland. See, I mean, I feel like sometime when you see that, them people done took a step down on the brain chart. You feel me? Like not to
Yeah.
say they're not still genius. It's just the fact that they had
Right.
more, and now they've, you know, instead of taking the A size, you know,
Right.
or should I say the what is it, the F-350? Now they dropped down to a F-250. So, you know, they got a little excess, you know, skin baggage back there, look like them hot dogs on the back of the head. Hey,
And
hey,
let's be clear that even though if you're mulatto or if you're bright enough to pass for white, doesn't mean and knowing that you got some black in you doesn't mean that your neuromelanin ain't just banging. Okay?
yeah, yeah. Hopefully that's the truth.
Yeah,
For real.
absolutely.
Yeah, we
Um,
need more warriors soon.
yeah, we so concentrated on the pigment of our skin, and we're not even thinking about inside our organs
I mean,
is
that's
filled
why
with
it's
neuromelanin.
look, man, it's like, you know how they move the cup around, the cups around, and ask you where the ball at, you know what I mean? In this
Right.
case, we're gonna say the black ball. You know, we moving all the cups, they moving all the cups around, and you got to guess what a black ball is. Like, it, like the world is so complex. That's why you have to judge a man by the content of his character, huh?
Right.
Because J.
So,
Edgar
so
Hoover, he could have been super black. He's still no good.
right,
He's no
right.
good. We gotta judge him by the content of their character,
Yeah. But
because they could
understanding
be,
that
like we said, they could be one of us.
it could, because the pigmentation in your skin is one kind of melanin, but again, the neuromelanin is another kind that we can't even see. So you can't really, these black people that gets to pass for white still got that neuromelanin, still got that rhythm, still got these black melanated traits that's going to show up in a white bedroom, or I promise you, it's going to show up. They're gonna notice. They're gonna notice, like damn, like shit. The shit just
Yeah,
elastically goes back.
yeah. Uh, God dang it, for real.
Oh, it's like the snapback. Once they put the snapback on their ass, they're gonna be like, oh shit.
I
All
mean,
the really white women that I dated don't have no snapback.
hey, I've heard things. I've heard things. Most definitely. I ain't gonna lie. But it's crazy. You know, like this guy gave Moors the most hell in history. Like, he's famous for the quote. You know, like he created the CIA, and you know, in efforts to make sure that there would never be another black or Moor Messiah. You know, this guy was born in 1895. So he was born about almost not, yeah, like 9 years after Noble Raleigh. So he had to grow up, and you know, with the sense that these, you know, that people like him was messiahs, or something just was special about those Moors, even though he didn't want to be one himself. You feel me? So after being a part of that kind of government that helped assassinate a lot of these greats, he became the our greatest foe, for real.
So, do we know who his parents were, or can we see who his parents were, or grandparents?
Yeah, he from Macomb, Mississippi.
Oh, damn! Say no more.
Uh, you know, so you can
There's a
imagine.
there's
You can
in the
imagine that's
chat
a.
somebody named Chitterlin Egg Rolls said this some foolishness. I think that's ironic. I mean, oxymoron. But anyway, go ahead,
Oh,
brother.
this person's, yeah. That person just want a little attention. That person,
Right, but look at his name,
yeah,
Chitterlin Egg Rolls,
yeah. You
and
gonna change the name a little bit because he always got chitlins, this and that. So he's just part of the chitlin circuit. That's what it is.
okay,
You
but
feel me?
we're foolish. But
So
we're
you
foolish.
exactly. Thank you. You know, I ain't starting to do. He already know. But I ain't gonna lie. One thing about him, he will hit the super chat just to talk shit. He ain't never a little $2, little broke ass. You ain't like you gonna throw like 20, 50 in the super chat. But anyways, I ain't even argue with dude, man. He
It
want to
looked like
ruin
he done
something.
pissed the king and the queen off.
Yeah, he just want to ruin something. It's a lot of wrenches out there. I ain't worried about him. If he get out of hand, they'll take care of him.
All
But
right, let's
see, and that
they
person probably, and that's what it is. Chitlin Circuit so goddamn yellow, and he from over there in California, I think. So his old yellow
with egg
bone ass,
rolls.
he is a descendant. He's a direct descendant of Piola. Yeah,
That
you
means
know what I
he's
mean.
black and passing as white.
You better
And up
believe
in, up in this chat,
it. You better believe it.
Yeah, he should move around. Doesn't matter, but He might be in the wrong room or channel. But yeah, let's get on with this J. Edgar. The Dark Secret. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
the Dark Secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, him, King James, and Abraham Lincoln, and all of those
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
already
that's real.
know.
That's
We
real. You
already
going in.
know.
You going
Yes.
in. That's it right there.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
All right. All right. All right. Hey, Taz.
Yeah, what's that?
Hey, can you throw the reader on for me? And knock the whole thing out? I think it's
Uh,
like 2 minutes 34. I gotta send it to you.
yeah, you could throw it on the private chat.
Yeah, I'm finna to. Let me see. That way we can just do the breakdown. Let me see. It's going down. Yeah, that dude trolling.
Yeah, and he's getting a lesson at the same time. So
And you bet, exactly, man. He know what time it is, but
chilling in the
he
bed.
know what he know where he stand in this position too. And like,
Yeah, and his title is like either a racist or
man,
sarcastic,
hey,
belittling.
if you're a yellow bone man, go get you some dark skin, man. That's it, man. That's more of the story. More of the story. If you're a yellow bone, go get you some real chocolate. Come
Oh,
on
I'm
now.
gonna have to do it.
You know, look at. I'm waiting.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to do it.
Taz in the building.
Taz is.
I'm gonna hit mute right quick.
Hoover's dark secret is revealed. J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI who worked relentlessly to undermine Martin Luther King and others in the civil rights movement in the 1960s, had black ancestors whose existence he desperately tried to keep secret, according to a new book. Millie Mcgee, the author of Secrets Uncovered, J. Edgar Hoover, Passing for White, is an African American who says she was told as a little girl in Macomb, Mississippi, of her family's links with Hoover. She writes in the book that her grandfather told of her of this very powerful man in Washington who was related to the family but did not want the links to be known and passed himself off as white. Ms. Mcgee, a former teacher in Los Angeles, explains that she contacted a genealogist in Salt Lake City, Utah, for help in tracing her family's history back 200 years. She says her research shows that Hoover's grandfather and great-grandfather lived in a segregated black area of Washington and were classified in a census as colored. Hoover, who was born in 1895 and died while still head of the FBI in 1972, was apparently anxious that no one should know of his origins. According to Ms. Mcgee, relatives were warned of dire consequences if they spoke publicly of his background. As a little girl, she believed that they would be killed if they mentioned the secret. Is this man so ashamed of his race that he would spend his whole life passing for white? She asks, how has our race offended him? She believes that his obsession with King and other black civil rights leaders stemmed in part from his repressed anger about his secret life. She told The Guardian yesterday that members of the Hoover family who had contacted her had not been angry about the disclosures, but that her own family were unhappy with her decision to go public. They're very upset. I never wanted to be related to him, she said. I never even liked him. Hoover came from a family that had always worked in government service in Washington. He entered the Justice Department after graduating in law, became acting director of the FBI in 1929 and was confirmed as director shortly afterwards. He was associated throughout his career with a fierce paranoia about the left and the civil rights movement, and an obsession with pursuing what were seen to be enemies of the United States. A powerful figure during his life, he became the subject of much mockery after his death, when it was claimed that he had enjoyed cross-dressing. Hoover's wiretapping and hidden surveillance practices took the FBI's involvement in the private lives of U.S. citizens to new levels. After his death, it was accepted that no FBI director should ever have such power again. Ms. Mcgee says that the book is not an expose of Hoover's dishonesty, but more of a cross between Roots and Danielle Steele, in that it catalogs her search to discover the family's secrets.
Yes, sir.
Dollars. Contributions. 1,250,000.
Man, come on now. Like, dude wasn't no good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's why I say when we give them a lot of credit, we love to say, man, no, the Caucasian, you know, no. But bro, where they getting all of that evil genius from are Moors. You know what I mean? It's, you know, they don't want to be us. They wish they were never, but they use they you know their greatness, because the word great don't mean good. They use their greatness for evil. You feel me? So a lot of times we getting taken down by our own, and we don't understand that. Like we don't think, oh, no, like no, it's them that's evil. Now you could blame, you can blame it on them over there in the pale skin, even though we know it's some real dark ass niggas the same way, and they had to have a granddaddy or somebody that felt like this, and he was black as hell. You know what I'm saying? For real. So we give a little too much credit to them mother suckers. You know, and we don't blame ourselves enough either. Like we don't want to blame ourselves and say that, man, it's them self-hating Negroes that took all of us down. You know?
Yep.
For real.
It's true. It's true. I mean, if we can't all be good spirited. There's a equal opposite polar reaction to everything. And so while we are spiritual beings, not all of us, not all of us. And now you've introduced color into the mix too. Now all of that is a man construct. Man construct for this system, this society that they're in, causes people to scheme uh, to join the advantageous race instead of being who they are. And that's the shame of it all. It's like just be who you are. You're black. You got rhythm. You got melanin. You got the God particle. Why would you fake that um, for the evil portion of life? That's because there's an advantage. There's an advantage to you going to the bank with uh, marking down white in a fucking box. There's an honor system going on behind the scenes that you already know about because that's their system. They have an honor system where you just say what the deal is and that's it. I know this because I worked in corporate a lot and got to feel some advantages to being in that corporation and saying like for instance, like in the lunchroom, uh, I'm a nigga. Whatever I put in my tray in the cafeteria and go into the line, close my little box up and just walk through the line, they're gonna say, "What do you have?" I could just say French fries, and they tag me for the French fries, and I move along. Even though I've got a cheeseburger, some salad shit and all kinds of shit in my little bin, I'm getting the honor system that will cause a motherfucker to be like, oh shit, I ain't gotta pay for lunch. I'll just give them $1 and say I got some fries or something and walk through the line. That's their system. In their system, they trust what they say.
So they don't.
They do. They do. They trust. They trust in their system. They have trust. They have codes. They have protocols. They do. And by me being in that corporation, I'm gonna get some of those protocols too. And I say I wanted to amp it up, then if I was light enough and if I got my dialect right, imagine the possibilities. And I thought that then I would tell my man all the time, like they have an honor system.
Right.
They have an honor
Sounds
system
like
here where I can do no wrong. I can whatever. I can write them a IOU or all kinds of shit. There's so much privilege in that world, in that system, all about the United States and other places that would, I'm not saying that if I was capacity white that I would, because I've got way too much rhythm and then my thoughts don't line up with that shit. But if I was a scheming, conniving ass Bia, yeah, I could take advantage of this system and get some things going and maybe be a millionaire.
I think
But I choose to represent
I think Trail still should do
my
a
people.
critical race theory video.
Yep, yep. You right on point. I definitely appreciate y'all too, because yeah, that's the whole point. Like the brother said, why does just a political status really? That's true. But see, even when it comes to that white thing, like when they say free white persons and all that, like as far like it's deeper than a political system. It's a caste system. We know that. You feel me? And caste coming from the same word that you get castle. So we talking about white representing the the white caste. So we talking about the white castle, that kind of a thing.
Castle and castration. Cast.
Hey, that's the only way you're gonna stay in there in the castle, unless you the king and the queen. Everybody else gonna be castrated. Like you can't come in here. You ain't sleeping around. You ain't sleeping around the queen unless you're a eunuch. But yeah,
Right.
I gotta be up super early, so I'm gonna head out of here.
yeah, we all finna make a move. I was just finna tell you to throw that banner up. Let them know where they can find us at.
I remember what you're talking
I was looking for it
about.
in the typing that shit.
Hold on. Well, that wasn't. It wasn't a banner, but it was more of our future. Whatchamacallit, our future trio deals. We do whenever we bring PowerPoint, it's what we're gonna utilize to make sure that we have everybody's attention, and that they could figure out where they could find us and stuff like that. It's loading, so I'm just waiting on it to make up his damn mind. Shares.
And matter of fact, you can show them that next what's the next PowerPoint that you was we were going through it before. Matter of
Right,
fact, astrology decoded. Yep, that's
right.
it.
So we're gonna our next PowerPoint is probably, we have a couple of them. We have a couple of
Yeah,
them.
Bill Gates going. Yeah, he did. He a dead man. They know that's going down this week.
But this is gonna be one of the ones that the community been anticipating for a while. All right, and with that said, just remember that you can find us on all the platforms. All right, expect this coming soon. This is gonna be a super hit. It's gonna be Zodiac's Decoded Part 2. All right, that's gonna be coming really, 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 really soon. But look us up. You can find us, under YouTube. You can find me on Twitter. I don't know if everybody else got a Twitter or whatever. Under Facebook, you find me as Tasmaniac Wolf. Sister Denise. You can find her as Denise Grant on YouTube. Go hit that subscribe button on this on the sister's page, to follow her. You seen how she was dropping the knowledge today. She always does her thing with us. And as you know our host, Mr. D Calico, the neighborhood etymologist. If you haven't smashed that subscribe button with his channel, make sure that you do so. Check him out on all the platforms. Same thing on Facebook. You can find him under the Calico. But and me, you can never forget me. You find me under the Taz Show on everything except on Facebook. I got a business page on Facebook under the Taz Show, but as far as my profile, you're gonna find me under Tasmaniac Wolf. Expect this presentation. I know a lot of people have been waiting on it, so it is coming. I ain't forgot about it. We're gonna break down a whole the second part of where we left off the last time. All right. So get ready, and this is gonna be one of many that we're gonna be showing. So be sure to what you call it, to subscribe. So I can't tell you enough. Subscribe. Go to all our channels and make sure you subscribe. We're gonna start doing a lot of things together as a group, and I look forward to it. But appreciate you guys.